You say you want more money, but your nervous system disagrees. Welcome to Spirit Sherpa, where we help spiritual practitioners find success, sovereignty, and spiritual advancement. I'm your host, Kelle Sparta, transformational shaman and spiritual business coach. And I am here today to talk to you about money. It is the biggest, topic for spiritual practitioners because there's all of this energy in the morphic field around poverty and taking no money, and it's just the minute you enter the morphic field, your money is like, what happened, right? You might have been great in other businesses or in your career or whatever, but the moment you walk in, the money goes zip, and that's because you have to opt out of the energy of poverty from the morphic field. So let's take a minute and close our eyes. Not if you're driving, okay? Not if you're driving. But take a minute and just visualize removing yourself from the poverty in the field of spirituality as a practitioner, as a leader, right? Because that's step one. All right. And then we're going to talk about how money impacts you. So, before I do that, I want to mention for anybody watching on YouTube, I could not talk myself into putting makeup on today, and I'm showing up and doing it anyway. Okay. So this is one of those things that you really, as a spiritual practitioner, you just have to show up and do it anyway. All right. So you really want to just make sure that you do what you can. I was like, yep, I can manage putting on some lipstick. Everything else was a no-go. So, but you show up and you do it anyway, right? I'm pre-recording a whole bunch of episodes right now, and so I'm doing like 7 podcasts a week right now, which is insane. And so, but I'll get up and running in a couple of weeks. I'll have a backlog of stuff that's in my hopper, so I can take a little break again. But that's how I like to do it. And then some days, it just means I got to choose differently. I worked a lot of hours yesterday. I'm doing this today. So back to our topic, though. Let's come back to spirituality of money, right? And how do we choose to make more money without freaking out our nervous systems, right? So there's a lot of things that can go into this, and I want to be clear. I'm not going to go into every little detail of how to clear this because, as spiritual practitioners, I'm going to assume that you know how to clear a lot of this stuff. And if you don't, you're welcome to sign up for a coaching session or something, and we can work that out. Or join the Sacred Prophets Mentorship program. It's right now it's super cheap because we're still in the founder level. So and we're doing a couple calls a month where we can walk you through this stuff if you need it. Okay, so here's the stuff. So I've already talked to you about the morphic field and the issues there, right? Second thing is money. Money is so freaking charged, right? Because there's all this. If you're on social media at all, and most of us are because we have to be for work, right? You know that money has there's all this victim energy around money right now, and hatred for billionaires, and this thing that money is evil and it's the reason that everything's going to hell in a hand basket, and there's all this problem, ick, around money. And you cannot participate in that if you want to make money. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You cannot participate in that if you want to make money. I don't care how unethical you think billionaires are. Okay, billionaires, they are who they are, and we can't get involved. Right? We need to do what we need to do for us. And being angry at and rebelling against a system only gives energy to that system. Okay? Because you're pushing against it rather than choosing a sovereign path for yourself. And so this is the key here. The system is already falling apart. Let it fall apart. Let it do its thing. Where there's no saving it at this point. It is past the point of no return. We have to let the chips fall and then pick up the pieces. And the way that you become a leader as the pieces are being picked up is you choose a sovereign path today. And that's what you need to be doing here. And so you need to choose a sovereign path for yourself. This means that you need to be educated about money so that you understand how to take care of it. Years ago, I went through a money program, and I mean like 25 years ago, I went through a money program with T. Harv Eker and the Millionaire Mind group. And one of the metaphors he used that I loved, I love this metaphor. He said, if you as a loving parent give your child a single scoop of ice cream on a cone and they drop it on the ground and they ask you for 3 scoops to replace it, you're not going to give them 3 scoops because they can't hold on to one on a cone, and 3 is even more to manage. Same thing is true of the universe with money, right? You need to manage the scoop you have and manage it well before the universe is going to hand you a lot more. And, that's actually an internal thing. It's not actually the external, right? We are the universe and the universe is us. So we are the ones who are limiting our income. We are the ones who are limiting the flow of money into and out of our lives. And so when we are not doing well with money, if you owe back taxes, if you don't know how much money's in your bank account, at least sort of generally, if you don't have a sense of what your business is doing, if you don't know the numbers in your business, if you don't know how many calls it takes to get a client and how many leads it takes to get a call, right? How many prospects it takes to get a call. And if you don't know all those numbers, if you don't know how much money you make in a month, if you don't know how much money you made last year, if you don't know these things, you are not managing your money. You're not taking care of it. And if you don't take care of it, it can't take care of you, right? You're holding that single scoop of ice cream and you're bobbling it because you're not paying attention to it. And that's what happens when you don't pay attention to your ice cream cone, is that you bobble it and the ice cream ends up on the floor and you're sitting there with an empty cone going, why am I broke? Right? So when you try to expand your money, your nervous system is going to freak out if you don't have it set up for you to understand how to manage that money. Right? So, one of the things that happens when large sums of money come in is you go, okay, what do I do with this now? Right? Inflation is rampant right now as I'm recording this. So you don't want to keep it in cash. What do you want to do with it? How are you going to invest it? How are you going to hedge that money against inflation? Right? That's a high quality problem, right? But it's a problem that you have to be prepared to do because fear of loss is greater than desire for gain. And so if your fear of losing money is higher than your desire for gaining it, if you don't know what you're going to do with the money, and because of that, you're afraid because you're like, oh, I could lose it. And then, then what, right? If that kicks in, you've got a problem, right? And then there's the other thing around, if you think money's evil, you're not going to let it into your life because you got all kinds of protections up, I hope. If you guys don't have protections up, we need to talk. But you have protections up against things that are evil coming at you, right? And so if you think money's evil, guess what? You've protected yourself against it. And that's a problem too. Okay. So you need to redefine money as not being evil. Don't take your protections down. Redefine money, right? And then there's all kinds of belief structures that you may have in place about money, which is, you got to work hard for your money. She works hard for the money. Sorry, it was a moral imperative. Anyway, if you think you have to work hard for your money, you're going to kill yourself to make it go. If you're waiting for somebody to discover you and bring you up in the world and show, that was a big one for me. I used to wait for that all the time. That's not going to happen. You need to discover yourself. You need to bring yourself up. You need to make yourself visible. If you think marketing is a scam, that's going to be a problem for your money flow in your business. It's going to be a problem. If you think sales are sleazy, that's going to be a problem in your business, right? All of these things are issues that have to be addressed in order for your nervous system to comply with the idea that you're going to bring in more cash. And, in the program, we're really working hard to get people into a place where they're making at least $10,000 a month. Now, there's another level after that. Obviously, there's the pro program. But at the moment, what I'm talking to you about is the Sacred Profits Mentorship, which takes you from $0 to $10,000, right? That's the goal. So, how do you feel about making 10 grand a month? How does that make you feel? What would you do with that money? Put a plan in place. If your energy field tightens up at all, if you then, you may have a problem, right? If you're going, oh my God, that would be so nice. If it feels like a pie in the sky dream, that's a problem because dreams never become reality. Dreams don't get grounded. Goals become reality, right? When you're in a dream space, it's wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Never freaking happens. Have you ever seen anybody say, wouldn't it be nice? And it happened? No, because that's the wrong energy for manifestation, right? So you want to make sure that your energy field, your belief structures, and your actions are all aligned with making more money. And that can be a complicated process, as you just heard, right? But when you are aware of the issues, then you're in a better position to do something about them, right? But I used to say this back when I was broke. I used to say, when the queen of manifestation is broke, we have a problem, right? Because I was broke and I was the queen of manifestation. If I wanted a thing, I can manifest it, no problem. But money, I was not manifesting. Why? Because I made some assumptions and I had some beliefs that were holding me back from the money I was trying to manifest. And I didn't fully get out of my way for years. Years. Even though I was doing all this workaround. I told you 25 years ago, right? I was doing that. And it was not that long ago that I got it together. So, like, just, I mean, it was years ago, but it was still not that many years ago. So I spent a good 10, 15 years just sort of struggling and making it, making ends meet. And um the whole point here is that you want to make sure that you are dealing with the issues associated with your lack of money and the victim energy that you may have adopted because of doom scrolling on social media and or the stuff that's going on internally for you if you're having a hard time making ends meet. And then you also have to look at, how are you projecting those things onto your audience, your potential clients? Because if you are feeling like you're not making ends meet and you're marketing to people, you're going to assume everybody else is broke and nobody has the money to pay you. And therefore you're going to undercharge. And these are, I'm telling you, this stuff is insidious. It goes everywhere in your energy field. It goes everywhere in your experience of the world. So this is a primary thing that you need to get your hands on in order to be able to make more money than you're making now. Okay. So this is just your thought for the day. I love you. I believe in you. I know you guys can do this. If you need help, come and find us in the Sacred Prophets Mentorship Program. I am thrilled to help you. Josh is thrilled to help you. We are doing a couple calls a month now. We've added that into the program since we started talking about it. And so I'm excited to talk to you about that. We'll be seeing you on calls. Each of us are doing a call every month. And so I'm doing a lab where we're going to work with people individually. And then Josh is doing open office hours where he's going to ask questions. It's gonna be amazing. So I am super excited. And please, if you know somebody who has money issues, who's a spiritual practitioner, please share this episode with them. That's, if you've gotten anything out of the episodes that we've shared with you so far, it's a great way to balance your karma. Please, and another way to do it is to review for us and leave us a nice rating on your podcast provider. That way we get found by more people. Like, subscribe, share, the routine, right? And remember, what you focus on expands. What you intend is what you create. So choose wisely.